Welcome to our series, The Bhagavad Gita for All. Namaskar. We'll continue reading Chapter 8, Akshar Brahma Yog. In today's episode, we have a whole lot coming up for discussion. We'll start with the cycle of life and death and what happens in between. Since we're talking about life, how could we not talk about time? We'll discuss the Vedic calculation of years. You'll be fascinated to know how these years are considered. I promise you, after knowing this, you'll realize that life is lived in the blink of an eye, and you wouldn't even know how that happened. Let's jump straight into it. The cycle of life. If you consider the life cycle of a human being, you'll agree that it's a mixed bag of good days and bad. There are lots of things to be grateful for, many experiences to encounter that will make you happy. And then there are the people for whom we are ready to go to the end of the world. At the same time, you'll agree that living life is a challenge in itself. There are quite a few uphill battles, and not everything goes as planned. At times, birth itself might be a suffering for a human being. Like in the case of someone who faced medical complications as soon as they were born. Growing up as a child can be equally painful because here you are, clueless of the world, cannot speak the language, and yet need your wants satisfied. All you can do is cry about it and hope someone takes notice. Adolescence is a battle best not spoken of. As soon as you realize the ways of the world, it's time to act like an adult. But how do you act like an adult when you've never been an adult before? At least not in this life. It begins with studying to get a job, finding a job, and performing well at it. Then there's relationships to think about. While you're settling in, boom, you're stepping into old age. And that has problems of its own. Add to this are the issues we face as a society, as a country, and also as the world. Coming to think of it, having a few good hours in the day is in itself a Herculean task. And what luck if you have that? What is Shree Krishna's advice on this struggle? Overcome your suffering through devotion. When you know that a sharp knife might cut you, it means you're aware of the consequences. You will ensure that you avoid the pain you will feel upon cutting yourself accidentally. You're going to try your best to stay away from the knife itself. That's true about life too. That very pain and knowing about it is a kind of a signal. This signal tells you to be aware. The misery in life is a signal too. A signal that says that the material world really has nothing to offer because it's only you trying to please your senses. Leave that aside and focus on yourself, your inner being. Why not try devotion and self-reflection beginning now? The planes of existence. Lok means a plane or the realm of existence. In Vedic philosophy, there's a description of the 14 worlds. 7 of these are higher worlds or planes called Vyahrtis, and 7 are lower worlds or planes called Patals. People living in these 14 planes are subject to the cycle of birth and death. These are a part of the Maya, the creator's material energy. You remember Maya, don't you? The illusion, that which is not what it appears to be. Realizing a higher power such as God will help you liberate yourself from this very painful cycle. In spite of the realization, there are some who may return to mortal life. Why do you ask? Well, to help humans, to invest themselves in the welfare of their fellow beings, to guide them to seek liberation and make them realize how materialistic the world really is. Your presence on earth is therefore to help others. Vedic calculation of years. In the Vedic time system, Kal or time is not linear. The measure of time is itself unimaginable for human beings. In the Hindu philosophy, time or Kal is often connected to Lord Shiva. He is called the Mahakal or the Great Time. Let's try to wrap our mind around the concept of time. In the Vedas, 1 year on earth is 1 day and 1 night of the celestial gods. Going by this calculation, 1 year of the celestial gods would be 360 years on earth. Now 12,000 such years of the gods makes 1 Mahayug. If you'd like to know what that is on earth, then hold your breath. It's 4.32 million years on earth. Here's a table of calculation. A 1,000 Mahayugs equal a day of Brahma and is called a Kalpa. Not just this, but there's also the consideration of 1 night of Brahma. Kalpa is the largest unit of time. Thus, 4.32 billion years make a Kalpa, and Shree Krishna says that someone who can understand this has truly grasped the meaning of night and day. Furthermore, a Brahma's lifespan of 100 years is the duration of the universe. Brahma's 1 day and 1 night put together make up 8.64 billion Earth years. That's a whole lot of numbers to work on. Makes you wonder if 24 hours are just about enough. Life is truly lived in the blink of an eye, isn't it? I hope, knowing this, you'll start doing the things you've always wanted to do. After all, we're hardly going to live for a kalpa. Dhanyavad.